He has seen it all, done it all, knows somebody, if he hasn't done it himself, knows somebody who has. He's just released his latest idea, which is just amazing, the ambition of the guy. If you say you can judge a man by his company, you must be able to judge an industry guru by the company that he keeps, and it is pretty blooming impressive. He is definitely the number one, I'm sure people disagree, but for my money, he's the number one influence estate agency today.
Oh, amazing. So, okay, so let's go on to number 18, Bob Scarf of Caldwell. Coolwell?
Well, yeah. Well, we say of Coolwell that it's of a number of things. Bob is a well-known industry figure. I'm sure virtually everybody watching this will have heard of Bob from his estate agency experience. But I had a meeting with Bob 4 or 5 years ago, introduced me to the concept of Coolwell, which a number of estate agents use now. We weren't the first to use Coolwell, but we were one of the first. And essentially, what Coolwell does, in simplistic terms, is it converts a portal lead into a telephone conversation. I mean, that's it in a nutshell.
Sounds very simple, but I can imagine that it's one, very effective, and two, not that simple in the background.
Well, you're right. It definitely isn't as simple as it sounds. So if somebody sends in a portal inquiry through Rightmove, Zoopla, on the market, or whatever, they'll ping their button, and where they're sitting, so they might be sitting on the sofa. Perhaps the two people are looking at a particular property. They think, "Oh, that's interesting." Well, press a button and say, "We're interested in that."
Yeah.
It all works properly. Within a few seconds, they will have a telephone call.
Crazy.
Thomas saying, "Hi, Simon from Thomas Morris. I know you just said that you're interested in such and such. Can we help you?" And often, when it really works well, they're still looking at the property and they're like, "Wow." Now, can you imagine that a number of these people are potential vendors wondering about which estate agent they might use? That's definitely going to put us in with a good chance of getting a valuation point out of them if they've been wowed by that experience.
Yeah.
What I like about Bob is he really does focus on, look, do you really want to use this product? If you do want to use this product, use it properly.
Yeah.
Don't say you want to use Coolwell. Don't think you can just put the Coolwell system in and that'll be it. Your life will be perfect. It'll all be sorted, because it won't be. And he understands that.
Yeah.
And he and his colleague Rob are constantly developing Coolwell, and they're just introducing some new products and some new ideas, which we're looking forward to experimenting with. But another one of life's thinkers. He really does analyse stuff and look at it from a practical perspective. Is also a really good guy, and by the way, not a bad dancer. At the age of
dancer.
Oh, he's a pretty nifty dancer.
Yeah, the market dancer.
Yeah. I would say he's probably, so I've got Malcolm down there as wearing the best shirts, and I would say Bob's probably the best dancer.
I can show him the worm, see if we can have a dance off.
Yeah.
But no, it's the one thing I'd say about software, and that's sort of, I guess, the realm that I'm in, is that it's quite hard to say to somebody, don't use it if you're not going to fully use it, because obviously you want customers, right?
Yeah.
But then there's the other side of it. If they don't use it to its full potential, then they're going to start blaming the software, and then that's when you start to get problems. So to say that, that's as somebody with like, I mean, all these people with a lot of integrity.
Yeah.
Because it can be difficult if they're using the software and not using it to its true potential. Okay, let's move on to the next one we've got here is Nat Daniels from Angels Media.
Nat. I think I'm going to use this as an opportunity to apologise to Nat, if you don't mind.
Uh-oh.
You know, well, perhaps it doesn't happen with you, but sometimes I say stuff, and afterwards I think, oh, I wish I hadn't said that.
Yeah.
And I need to apologise to the person. And you might not see them for a while, and you never get around to apologising, and then you think, well, even if I mention it, he's probably not going to remember it.
Yeah.
So he probably won't remember this. But I can't remember which, I think it was at a Fine and Country conference in Birmingham. And I said to him, I think you're one of the best industry journalists in the industry. And he was like, I'm not a journalist, Simon. I said, you are? He said, I'm not. And I could tell that that had annoyed him.
Right.
I thought actually I was probably complimenting him, if anything. I've never had this conversation with him since, so this might, if he's watching this, will be the first he may have.
Apology.
And forever afterwards, I thought, do you know what? He's not a journalist. The reason I thought of him as being a journalist, he does, I don't know if you read it or not, but he does an excellent item every Saturday morning, I see it, in Estate Agency Today publication. Right. It's always an interesting read. It will look back on stuff and analyse what we did right and what we did wrong years ago. It will look forward on stuff. And it's a really, really interesting read. I recommend everybody to read that on a Saturday morning.
I will do.
What I thought about it, I thought, no, he's not a journalist. He just happens to be a guy that can write well. Yeah. And his team, Angels Media, they are really, really, really innovative. Mm. And through one of Nat's colleagues, Craig, we're actually, literally, I've just signed the order today, where we've got some, I'm just too excited. I'm not going to tell you what it is. That group are really, really innovative. That's been kind of to share with me some ideas that he's had in the past that I thought wouldn't work, that did work, and others that I think he's backed away from. But I'm sure they've got lots of other things lots and lots of other things to do in the future. And I really respect that guy, and I think he's got a lot to offer. Again, very enthusiastic, very clear on what he's trying to achieve, and yeah, I think he's a very influential guy.
It sounds like they've got a lot of exciting stuff coming up that you can't maybe say too much about there. Okay, cool. So we're going to go on to Ed Mead from Vuber.
Yeah, I've got this list in front of me, and I've just seen his name come up. I don't know Ed particularly well.
Right.
But he himself is an ex-estate agent, and I've got to know him a little bit more over the last few years. Mm. And I got to know him through a mutual acquaintance of ours, Peter Rowland, who's another industry legend, who suggested I speak to Ed about their Vuber proposition. Have you heard about Vuber?
I have, yeah. I was interested to hear your thoughts on it, because when I first heard of it, I was just like, I'm not sure about that. And then obviously as things progress, you start seeing it come to fruition, and it looks like a really, really good proposition.
Okay, well, I was different to you, and I didn't think, I'm not sure about that. I was sure.
Right.
I was absolutely definite that it wouldn't work. Yeah. I couldn't see why anybody on earth would pay X amount of quid to have somebody else go out and do their viewing for them, when that's what estate agents did. And it took ever to get my head around it. But Ed came up to our HQ and made an excellent presentation, and we now use Vuber as a sort of an overskill, if you like.
Right.
I hear really, really, really good reports about it. I'll be honest with you, a number of my staff were quite resistant to it to start with as an idea.
I can definitely imagine,
Some of them still are. But once you get to really understand what this proposition is all about, and I think as things increasingly in our industry become more outsourced, and again, I know a lot of people think, oh my God, outsourcing is terrible, you're losing control. I think outsourcing is going to become increasingly prevalent and important and useful in the estate agency. And the quality of the people, the feedback I get generally at Vuber that do these accompanied viewings and lots of other things too, is very, very impressive. And I think it was either the last Negotiator Awards or the Negotiator Awards before that they won the Supplier of the Year award.
Right.
I thought, that is really, really, really well deserved. And the guy is so enthusiastic, so keen. He's got his fingers in a number of business pies. He's a fascinating guy to talk to. Again, he's so easy to communicate with. He'll always take my call or call me to ask about something. And the connections that he has across the industry, particularly in respect to Viewer, but not exclusively to Viewer, I think he's a very, very influential man.
Sounds like a man with a vision.
Yeah.
And you said there about, some companies are quite reluctant to use third parties or outsource their work.
Yeah.
And I think that, I guess if you call them new companies or companies coming to the market, you're of course going to have some kickback, some skepticism from people in the market. But as these companies develop, they start to get better. They listen to the market. Obviously, they innovate. And so the proposition becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. And the estate agent can then, it gives the estate agent a bit more room to do what they do best, and then use other companies to, again, propel them forward. So I think companies like Vuber, when they do start becoming more prevalent and other agents start using them, they can then develop everything else, and it becomes a better proposition. And then in turn, estate agency then has more focus on what they're doing. So these suppliers and some of the ones that we've mentioned already are, I feel, making a real sort of a good change in the market, and also innovates and it's given some innovation that we do need.
If 10 years ago people would say, well, there's a company that will do your company viewings for you, I would think, well, A, that's not going to exist, that can't work.
Yeah.
The technology that these guys use is simple, it looks simple anyway, and very, very effective. And I could only see them going from strength to strength. And as I said, in particular, I believe is very influential in that area.
Amazing.